I'll tell you the truth about your anxious attachment. You are not born like this. It is not your fault for showing up in love in this particular way. However, it is your responsibility to change it if you do not like the way that you are showing up. Saying that you are just born this way and thinking that it's part of your identity just makes it 10 times harder for you to actually change, because you are not taking the accountability, the responsibility, and owning up to the fact that you indeed do have that free will and that power, that potential to be able to shift yourself. Your brain, your identity, your entire sense of being is a lot more malleable than you might credit yourself for, especially when you are open to that change. Now, anxious attachment or avoidant attachment or a mix of both, any type of disorganized attachment style, they are just coping mechanisms. You cannot cope with the reality of either thinking you'll be abandoned, or that they'll leave you, or you will not be loved. And so your way to cope with that becomes to latch onto other people, to attach onto other people very quickly, very fast. And you start to chase them out of fear that they will leave you, out of fear of being rejected, out of fear of not being enough. And it's similar with other attachment styles, but I will not go into depth because this is for anxious attachment. We are focusing on anxious attachment here. So you know how painful the reality is of being abandoned, of being unloved, of being rejected. And so everything you do revolves around not experiencing that reality again. And that's where the anxious attachment comes in as an almost protective way to manage that fear. Of course, on the surface, it doesn't look like protection, but deep down, if you really look deep down, there is perhaps a child part of you that is saying, I am scared. I'm scared of being abandoned. I'm scared of being unloved. I'm scared of being left behind. And that's what we're here to honor in this video. So to give you a bit more nuance, as humans, it is natural, it is normal to crave the feeling of mattering to someone, the feeling of being loved by someone, the feeling of being valued by someone, and the feeling of connection and belonging. Those are all innate human desires that we have. And that is not about shaming them, but it's about recognizing the boundary, the line between when that craving starts to dip into the chasing, starts to dip into longing, starts to dip into self-sacrifice and self-abandonment, because you end up betraying yourself in the name of love just to chase someone else and earn their validation, earn their love. And that is what we are here to talk about, because very frequently anxiously attached people, for love, it feels like a game to them. It feels like a cat and mouse game to them. You are chasing after someone and then they don't give you what you want, and then you just get more hooked onto them. You try even harder to get what you want out of them, and it just doesn't work. Ultimately, what happens when you are no longer approaching dating and relationships from a place of genuine openness and curiosity and love is that you now start to approach love through the lens of self-protection, through the lens of self-preservation. Everything you do now revolves around, how do I not get hurt? How do I make this person stay? How do I not get abandoned? How do I not insert fear, whatever you are afraid of? So how do I not get cheated on? That's another big one that I feel like a lot of people are starting to fear these days. We try to grasp at love in other people while forgetting that we are literally the essence of love that is just waiting to be tapped into. And so you have to understand that love is not out there. Love is not out there for you to grasp onto and cling onto and reach for. It naturally comes to you when you start to cultivate that love from within here, and tap into your true essence, which is essentially love. And when you have relationships with other people, that love that you have within is just being reflected back from a place of overflow, not from a place of replacing that love that you lack within. So there's this saying that's floating around, like, others won't love you if you don't love yourself, or something like that. And I don't entirely agree with it, because I do believe that even if you don't love yourself, there are still people who will love you. However, either number one, you will learn how to be okay with accepting breadcrumbs and think that this is a norm. Or number two, you are going to sabotage any type of love that you do receive from other people because you don't know how to hold it and receive it internally in your nervous system, because clearly you are lacking the love from within, right? So this feels very foreign to you to receive love. I like to reframe it more as loving yourself teaches you the standard of love that you should and you can receive from other people. That feels more aligned, that resonates more with me for some reason. So what is happening here when you have an anxious attachment is that basically you are indirectly assigning and outsourcing different roles to people, right? So for example, let's say your current partner, your crush, your SP, whoever it is, you indirectly, unconsciously assign the job of, okay, you are here in my life so that I don't feel abandoned. You are here in my life so that I don't feel unloved. Your job in my life here is so that I don't feel worthless and like I don't matter in this world. Your job in my life is so that I don't feel like I'm valueless and I have no value. Do you see how this kind of plays out? And this is very different from having the intention, going in with the intention and the energy of, I want to co-create this mutual loving relationship with someone. Those are very two different tones when you outsource roles and jobs to somebody else to make them your security and your source of love, versus coming at it from this place of, I already know myself and my love for myself, and I'm grounded in that secure foundation I have within, and then we can co-create that relationship. There is a very big difference between saying your job is to love me because I don't know how to love myself, versus the love you offer me is just a reflection, an extension, that's an even better word, of the love that I already offer myself. Because remember, true love doesn't rescue you. I know a lot of us, we've developed that type of Prince Charming mentality where we believe a man might show up and they might come and save our life and complete us and give us everything. But I want to shatter that fantasy, that illusion, and tell you, you are essentially your own Prince Charming. You are literally you hold such a powerful position in your own life that I sometimes feel that you don't recognize that and you feel like someone else is going to give you that. But no, you truly have that type of creator and powerful energy in you to be everything you want to be, instead of outsourcing that to someone else. If you come to someone empty, hoping that they will feel this void within you, you will feel hollow every time they pull away, every time they become busy, every time their texts become less frequent. Or the other might happen where they do text you, they do give you a lot of love, and then what happens? You feel ecstatic. You feel up here. You don't feel grounded, because ecstatic, feeling excited and overly excited, is not the same as being grounded and at peace and stable in a relationship. It's very different, because you are not coming from this place of peace, and that is what you should be aiming for in a relationship, not chaos, not very extreme fluctuations of, oh, I'm so depressed because he didn't text me, versus, wow, I'm so happy because he texted me. Those are two very extreme ends of the spectrum that you do not want to be fluctuating between, because that is a very painful way to experience love, experience your version of love. Now, if you become full and already rooted in your own worth, their love becomes a reflection, not a lifeline. And an anxious attachment is all about recognizing your worth, recognizing that I am the source of the love. I am the solution to my own life. I am my own Prince Charming. I can give myself everything that I crave in my partner. And that doesn't mean my partner can't give them to me anymore. It just means their love, their acts of service, their words of reassurance, they become an extension of what I already know within, of what I have already internalized within. And that's when relationships start feeling a lot more secure and safe. And that's when you exit the survival mode and go into co-creation mode, where you are a lot more intentional about how you want to show up and what kind of love you want to co-create together. So what's really happening when you are anxiously attached is you have a child within you that is frozen in time. Okay, in an event in the past where you weren't given love unconditionally, and you indirectly learnt love is conditional, and you only receive love when you met certain conditions, when you behaved a certain way, when you looked a certain way, when you did this specific thing or achieved this specific thing. So when you now interact with romantic interests and partners, you are acting from this child part of you that is frozen in time. You are acting from the belief that if you don't stop proving that you are lovable, that you are worthy, that you are deserving of love, then you are going to disappear and you are going to not matter anymore. And obviously that reality, that feeling is very scary to feel. So just take a second to imagine how sad that is, to know that this child within you that is underneath this anxious attachment is fighting so hard for you out of survival, trying to keep you safe from her version of love and what she believes is required for you to be loved. And that's why you overthink every text. That's why your nervous system spikes every time that they take too long to reply. That's why you check your story and wonder, have they watched my story? It feels like abandonment because you constantly ask yourself, did I say too much? And are they pulling away because I was too much? I was too needy. And it's not because you're needy, but it's because there is that part of you that is so terrified that if you are not chosen by them right now in this moment, then that means you stop existing to them, because a part of you is literally outsourced to them. A part of yourself, a sense of yourself and your value is literally in their hands. They literally hold the key. And so that feels so frightening when they do something that is the opposite of what you want. So right now, just take a deep breath with me, be present with me in this video. We have however long the rest of the video this is, and I want to invite you to think about all the times that you felt anxiety in a relationship, in a situationship, in a connection, like you had to do something to secure this person's love, otherwise they would go away. Let that part of you that was acting from that anxiously attached urge, let that come up within you. And let's just get curious about this part of you. I want you to notice any sensations as well. And when you have that feeling come up, I want you to say to this part of you, I'm here. I'm here now. I see you. I see you fighting so hard to cling on, but you don't have to anymore. You don't have to anymore because I am here and it's going to be okay. And when you start to be there for yourself, for this part of you consistently, you are essentially building a secure attachment with yourself. And this secure attachment that you build with yourself, that's essentially gets mirrored, gets modeled into your external relationships as well. And so I like to share with you guys this perspective of that inner child because I find that it's what resonates with me the most and my clients. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's completely fine as well. We all have different preferences, but the core concepts of this are really the same here. And it's regardless of what modality you choose to look at. And it's basically, if you believe someone else will complete you, you are starting from the belief that you are not already whole. And that has never been true. That has never been a bigger lie. You were born whole and you will pass whole. You can be born with the belief that you are broken, but that doesn't innately mean that you were indeed for a fact broken. Your soul is not something that can break, regardless of what circumstance you've been through, regardless of what your history is. We all enter the world whole, and you will leave this place whole too. So remember, you are not here to prove that you are lovable. You are here to remember that you always were, because you are love. Hope this was helpful. Let me know how you found it, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye.